there's a machine that doesn't exist in any official catalog. No press release, no launch event, no configurator on a website where you can spec the color of your brake calipers. And yet, it does exist. Somewhere in a private collection in London, there's one, another in Monaco. One more allegedly sits in a temperature-controlled garage in Beverly Hills. Never driven, never photographed, wrapped in a custom cover stitched by the same atelier that upholsters Hermes bags. Only a handful of people on Earth have ever been allowed to buy this car. Fewer still have been allowed to even request one. This is the Pagani Zonda 760. The forbidden beast, the unofficial final form of a car that was supposed to die more than a decade ago. A machine so exclusive, so intensely personal, that Pagani himself decides who gets one and who doesn't. This is the story of a car that broke every rule of how the hypercar business is supposed to work, and somehow became a legend because of it. Let's rewind. The year is 2011. Pagani has just unveiled the Huayra, their next-generation hypercar. Active aerodynamics, twin-turbo AMG V12, a $1 million successor to the Zonda, which had been in production since 1999. By all accounts, the Zonda was done, finished, a relic of the naturally aspirated era, ready to retire into automotive history. Except, Horacio Pagani kept building them. Not as a production model, not as a limited run, but as something else entirely. Something closer to commissioned art than automotive manufacturing. Enter the 760 series. If you've never heard of it, that's intentional. The 760 wasn't announced. It wasn't marketed. It simply appeared. In private garages, on closed circuits, in Instagram posts from accounts with 12 followers and private profiles. Each one different, each one a reflection of its owner's obsession. Each one the result of a conversation between Horacio Pagani and someone willing to spend upwards of $3 million. Not for a car, but for their car. This wasn't a production model. This was bespoke engineering at the absolute limit of what a small atelier in Modena could achieve. And the 760 series became something Pagani never planned for, a myth. Because when you tell the world's wealthiest collectors they can't have something, they'll do anything to get it. To understand the 760, you have to understand Horacio Pagani. He's not a businessman in the traditional sense. He's a craftsman, an artist who happens to work in carbon fiber and titanium instead of marble and bronze. Pagani grew up in Argentina, building model cars out of wood and resin as a child. He moved to Italy with almost nothing, worked his way into Lamborghini's composites department, and eventually left to build his own dream. But here's the thing about Pagani. He doesn't build cars for the market. He builds them for himself. And then, if the client understands the vision, he allows them to own one. The 760 series is the purest expression of this philosophy. By 2011, Pagani had already moved on to the Huayra. Regulations demanded it: emissions, crash testing, pedestrian safety. The Zonda's platform, as beautiful as it was, couldn't meet modern homologation standards without expensive re-engineering. But some clients didn't care about new regulations. They didn't want a twin-turbo Huayra. They wanted the Zonda, the last of the old gods. The screaming, naturally aspirated V12, the rawness, the violence. And Horacio couldn't say no, not because of the money, but because he understood them. These weren't collectors buying status symbols. They were romantics, obsessives, people who saw the Zonda the way Pagani saw it, as a piece of mechanical art that deserved to live beyond its commercial expiration date. So he kept building them, one at a time. Each one different, each one proof that perfection isn't a spec sheet. It's a feeling. Let's talk about what makes a 760 a 760. At its core, the AMG-sourced 7.3-liter naturally aspirated V12. The same basic engine that powered the Zonda F, the Cinque, the Tricolor, but now tuned to its absolute mechanical limit. Power output varies depending on the commission, but most 760s produce somewhere between 750 and 760 horsepower. Hence the name. But the number is almost irrelevant. Because what the 760 represents isn't peak horsepower. It's the last stand of a dying philosophy. That a car should be mechanical, visceral, alive in a way that no turbocharged, computer-mediated hypercar can replicate. The 760 is light, around 1,210 kilograms depending on specification. The monocoque is a carbon titanium weave, technology Pagani pioneered in motorsport and translated to road cars. Every panel, every component, obsessively optimized for weight and rigidity. The suspension is double wishbone all around. No electronic trickery, no adaptive dampers, just mechanical precision, calibrated by feel, tested on the roads around Modena until it's right. Some 760s came with a manual gearbox, a gated 6-speed in an era where dual-clutch transmissions had already won the performance war. Why? Because the client wanted it. Because shifting gears manually, feeling the mechanical connection between hand and engine, mattered more than lap times. This is what makes the 760 series so dangerous to define. It's not one car, it's a platform, a canvas. Every 760 is bespoke, custom aero, custom exhaust routing, custom interior trimmed in materials the owner personally selected. Sometimes leathers Pagani had to source from a single tannery in Tuscany. There are no two 760s alike, which means there's no definitive 760. It's a Rorschach test. You see in it what you brought to Horacio Pagani's workshop. And if you didn't bring the right vision, he wouldn't build it for you. Here's where things get fascinating from a business perspective. The 760 series should not exist. By every conventional metric, it's inefficient. Each car is essentially a one-off commission. No economies of scale, no shared parts bins, no production line. Just skilled artisans hand-building each component in a workshop that looks more like a Renaissance atelier than a modern factory. And yet, it works. Because Pagani understood something most automakers refuse to accept. At the very top of the market, exclusivity is the product. Ferrari figured this out with their special projects division. Rolls-Royce built an entire business model around coach build commissions. But Pagani weaponized it. The 760 series wasn't about selling cars, it was about maintaining the myth, about ensuring that the Zonda, the car that made Pagani Automobili legitimate, never truly died, that it lived on as a legend, whispered about in private lounges at Pebble Beach, discussed in hushed tones at Goodwood, immortalized in grainy YouTube videos shot on closed Italian roads. Here's the genius. Pagani never advertised the 760. He didn't have to. The scarcity was the marketing. When Lewis Hamilton commissioned the 760 LH, his personal Zonda, painted in a color that doesn't exist on any paint chart, it created more brand value than any Super Bowl ad ever could. When collectors heard that Pagani had turned down requests from billionaires because their vision wasn't aligned with the car's soul, it made the 760 more desirable, not less. Pagani had turned the Zonda 760 into what every luxury brand dreams of. The thing you can't buy, no matter how much money you have. Unless, of course, Horatio decides you're worthy. Here's what's strange. The Pagani Zonda ended production in 2011. The Huayra launched, then the Utopia. Pagani has moved on twice to newer platforms, and yet the Zonda 760 refuses to die. On YouTube, videos of 760s receive millions of views. Forums dissect every new sighting. Collectors argue over which 760 is the true final Zonda. Enthusiasts treat each new commission like the discovery of a lost Caravaggio painting. Why? Because the 760 represents something we've lost in the hypercar era. Modern hypercars are technical marvels. The Bugatti Chiron, the Koenigsegg Jesko, the Rimac Nevera. They're faster, more advanced, more capable than anything that came before. But they're not romantic. The 760 is. It's a car built without compromise, without committee, without concern for profit margins or quarterly earnings. It's the car Horacio Pagani would build if money didn't exist, if regulations didn't matter, if the only thing that mattered was creating something perfect. That's why the 760 endures. Not because it's the fastest, not because it's the most expensive, but because it represents a philosophy the modern automotive industry has abandoned. That cars can be art, that engineering can be personal, that a machine can have a soul. In an era of electrification, of autonomous driving, of cars designed by focus groups and built by robots, the 760 stands as a monument to a dying idea. The idea that a car should make you feel something. Somewhere, right now, there's a Zonda 760 sitting in a garage. Engine cold, doors closed, waiting. Its owner might take it out this weekend, might drive it through the hills at dawn, listening to that 7.3-liter V12 scream at 8,000 RPM, feeling every input, every vibration, every imperfection. Or maybe they won't. Maybe it'll sit there for another year, another decade. Appreciating in value, yes, but more importantly, existing. Proof that something this pure, this uncompromising, can still survive in a world obsessed with speed and status. The Pagani Zonda 760 is not the fastest car ever made. It's not the most advanced, but it might be the most important. Because it proves that if you refuse to compromise, if you build what you believe in, consequences be damned. The right people will find you, and legends never die. They just become forbidden.